Hello and welcome to Catholic Kickstarter. My name is Stephen Fleming, and today's guest we have Natalie, who is an amazing woman, and she is a mom. She is an evangelisation officer, and she also is a Catholic speaker. But if you are new to this channel, I encourage you to subscribe to get more great content like you are about to see. Like, how can I meet God? You know, I'm sure you have a lot of people ask you that when you go around, and I know that I've had a lot of my friends turn around and go, "Okay, so how do I meet God?" What would you say to them, Natalie?
Well, the first thing I would say that you have to, if you really want to meet God, then be open to meeting God. Now that might sound silly because people might say, well, I've always been open. But I think you do really have to be open to the fact that there is a God, to be open to the fact that Jesus does exist. And if you're unsure as to how to meet God, then I would ask him to reveal himself to you. So, and you can do that in a really simple way. Maybe you pray lots, or you tried to pray, or you look up prayers of other people. But if you just sit, and you can join me now or think about it, but if you just say, Jesus, if you are real, please reveal yourself to me. Jesus, if you are real, please reveal yourself to me. Now, I know many people have told me, there's lots of testimonies of people who said that simple prayer. You might have words of your own which flow more naturally, and have said that that prayer has worked for them. They've had, and I'm not saying that Jesus is going, he might do, but I'm not saying that Jesus is going to walk in the room to you, but God in his own ways reveals himself. And sometimes it's in really small little ways, because God is so big and so grand that we would probably be overwhelmed if the fullness of him appeared to us. So I would say to ask God to reveal himself to you, and to be open to the fact that there is a God. If you come in here and it's just to prove that there isn't a God, then I'd say that you're not open. And that's fine. People go through stages, but to be open, to ask God to reveal himself to you, and really to find God in the world. Now, nature, lots of people love to go out for walks in the countryside, in nature, because God reveals himself in his creation, in what's around us, in the beauty. I love a red sky at night. You know, those beautiful other colours of the sky. So I always try and, if I can, to get out for a walk, because there's just something about the magnificent sky which shows me the wonders of God. And so there's lots of people who find God through his creation and through his wonderful artistry he does in the world. But I suppose if I was going to give a top tip for finding God, or allowing God to speak to you in the way that you can hear him, would be to find some time of quiet and silence, because the noise of the world can block out God. The noise and the busyness, and we do live in a really noisy world. Even now during lockdown, I've noticed if I go out for a walk now, there's an increase in traffic, and I would say but if you're not used to quiet and silence, don't start thinking, well, I've got to spend 5 days in quiet and I'll hear God really, really clearly. So what I'd say, start off really small. If you're beginning and you want to meet God, ask him. Start off small. If you're really uncomfortable with quietness, set a timer on your phone or alarm clock. Give yourself 5 minutes a day and gradually increase. And use that as a time to speak to God. And if you have nothing to say to God in a prayer, you say, I've got nothing to say, and there's your prayer. You've prayed, and he will speak to you. And you can also find God through the people around you. God speaks through the people you encounter and see as well. So I hope there's something in there of help for people that are listening.
No, I think that's amazing. For me, when I suppose first met God, really was I was at an event called Youth 2000, and you can look it up online if you type Youth 2000, and they have the Blessed Sacrament, the monstrance, and it is through that I came to really, I suppose, understand. That's a picture of the monstrance there. Was pictures of lots of monstrances, but Jesus is in the center. And for me, I remember at the start of the weekend sort of going, wow, what is it, and it was through me spending, I suppose, a bit of time just praying before Jesus there in the monstrance, that I came to really understand that Jesus was truly present. But I think it takes us that leap of faith. It takes that leap of faith to be able, firstly, to pray to God, as Natalie was just saying. I think often we can find it very difficult to open our hearts for that first time. I remember opening our hearts because it's a risk. It's a risk because in our hearts, because our whole body, our whole lives are drawn towards God. It's almost like we're saying, well, if this is not true, then where is our life leading? Where is our purpose? And so for us, it's hard, but I encourage you to open your hearts, to say that prayer, come Lord Jesus, come into my heart, come into my mind. And to go to church. We listened to Emma last week, who realized the truth of the church when she went into the church for the first time. She had read the scriptures, she had been to all these different churches, but she went into the church and she came to experience Jesus in a really powerful way. I don't know what you want to say about that, Natalie, and have you had any experiences? I know it's a big jump to the Eucharist, but
Well, no, it's actually, as you were speaking, I thought, gosh, I've missed such a huge, significant part of how to encounter God, because what we have in the tabernacle, Jesus's body, blood, soul, and divinity, is so powerful. It is, it's almost unspeakable, and I think I went about 18 months ago, and I went into a beautiful. My daughter is a footballer, and we were out in the countryside somewhere, and we went into a really beautiful little church, but it wasn't a Catholic church, and for me, it was beautiful, but felt empty. I could feel there was something missing, and I knew what it was immediately. It was the lack of the Eucharist. The Eucharist, which is all so powerful, was not in the building. And there were stories of many people who walked into a Catholic church and have immediately recognized Jesus. And in some ways, Jesus' presence in the Eucharist. That's what they've recognized, and they've converted on recognizing his presence. And being a cradle Catholic, and always, in some ways, I am very envious of people with big dramatic conversion stories, but immensely privileged that I've always been within the church, and I've always, I was baptized at less than 3 weeks old. So I've been immensely privileged, but sitting before the Blessed Sacrament is one of the most powerful things you can do. I can't think of, there's one of the saints who used to call it God bathing, sitting before Jesus and letting him just transform who you are. Because I know from my own personal experience that I would never be, none of what I've spoken about or my desire to bring other people to Jesus has come from me myself. It's all come from receiving Jesus in the Eucharist as often as I possibly can be. And it's him who is working through me, because I wouldn't be doing it. The Eucharist transforms us and is there for us. So I know it's difficult at the moment. You probably do have to check whether your church is open and whether it's safe to go in. If you're somebody who's watching this who hasn't been in the church for a long time and is really nervous about it all, I think one of the bonuses at the moment is that so many churches are live streaming and just giving you a little insight into what the church might look like or what people might be doing in the church. So you can have a little observe from a distance and do
Sneak preview.
Yeah, sneak preview. Jesus so wants you there. He really longs for you there. And if you happen to be watching this, he's just overjoyed that you're even considering stepping into a church. So don't be afraid. There's no better place on the earth than to be before the Eucharist.